It was Easter Sunday in 1959, the golden era of American wholesomeness and family values. I was 13 years old, sitting in the front seat of the Ford Fairlane alongside my dad. It was the only car in the parking lot of Corwin's Pharmacy in Lockport, Illinois. And I was holding up my arms to fend off the flogging blows from my father's hands. "You're a sissy," he sneered. "I'm going to make you into a man. You are a sissy. You won't even fight back." Easter was the only day of the year that my father attended church, and only then because my mother pleaded and begged. The Carr family had sat in the pews of the First Congregational Church of Lockport. I stood sheepishly behind the altar. I was a member of the choir. I had joined the group as a favor to my mother, Mary. She was a woman who blistered her feet waitressing in the evenings at a restaurant, while my dad ran around with other women, or stayed home and drowned himself in beer and bourbon. If joining the choir would please my mother, it was reason enough. On most Sundays, 2 other boys sang in the choir, but neither had showed up that morning. In the pew, my father sat and fumed. After the services, we drove back home to our house in the country, 7 miles outside Lockport, a rural section known as Homer. Our home sat across the road from a house where our neighbors raised chickens. Next to them was another neighbor whose pigs sometimes crossed over to our yard and got wrapped up in the clothes hanging on the line. When we arrived at home, my dad told me to stay in the car. He said we needed to go for a ride, just the 2 of us. We were going to have a man-to-man talk. He steered the car into the parking lot of Corwin's. In those days, the stores all closed on Sundays. The lot would be empty. No one would be around to see us. With a voice simmering with rage, he told me that I had humiliated him, the only boy in a choir full of girls. It was too much for his pride to bear. He drew back his arm and began to swing. In my short life, I had tried very hard to win my father's approval. My dad wanted me to be more like my older brother, Bill, the biggest kid in his class, athletic, smart, and tough. When my dad worked on the car, I would stand for hours at his side, holding the tools or pointing the flashlight. When I played ball games at family gatherings, I looked to see if he was watching. I had long hoped for my dad to be proud of me. On that Easter Sunday in the parking lot of Corwin's, I gave up hoping. To Arthur Charles Carr, I wasn't even worth the time or money to take to the doctor. When I had just turned 16, my hand was caught in a slamming steel door at Lockport Township High School. The middle finger on my right hand had been crushed. My dad looked at it for an instant before scoffing. "This happens all the time to men. You will get over it. Shake it off." As the days passed, my finger turned darker and darker. I was developing gangrene. My mother, in defiance of my father's objections, took me to the emergency room at Silver Cross Hospital in Joliet. The doctors were outraged. Why had this kid gone untreated? Gangrene can kill. I was put under anesthesia and taken into surgery, where they worked to cleanse the infection, scrape the bone, and cut off the diseased flesh on the top digit of my finger. The injury meant I could not take the test for a driver's license until well past my 16th birthday. In those days, getting your license was just about the biggest deal in the life of an adolescent. I ended up being the last kid in my class to take the driving test. I flunked it. When I took the test again, my dad laughed that he had never heard of anyone who didn't get their driver's license until they were 17. To this day, when I look at my finger, I think of my father. More than once in my life, I have known failure. Ambitious business ideas have fallen short. Unpaid bills have piled up. Credit cards have been canceled. Bill collectors have come after me for house payments. In 1976, newly divorced, broke, and alone, I moved back to my hometown in Illinois. Trying to survive in my business as a software and business consultant, I lived and worked in the dreary Lockport South apartments, and then moved to East Street. I walked out of my building on East Street early one day to see a tow truck lifting the rear end of my car. Somehow I was able to beg the repo man into letting me keep my lime green Pontiac.